Logan, what do you think of the decision?
Absolute what Jake Paul did, he's trying to survive, he's not trying to engage. And so therefore, it's your job to cut him down and catch him up.
Go.
You've been looking at
yourself. Wait, what? He told me he wanted to raise $40 million.
He said he wanted to raise $40 million. Now Logan Paul has filed a $500 million lawsuit against Anthony Joshua after his brother Jake Paul's jaw was brutally broken, leaving him severely injured. Anthony Joshua's punch wasn't just powerful. It exposed the harsh reality of heavyweight boxing, proving that fame, hype, and promotion cannot compete with elite skill, experience, and devastating precision.
Villain expose himself for the fucking...
This outcome was inevitable. Those who talk the loudest often pay the highest price. Jake Paul's hype and bravado meant nothing when faced with a true heavyweight. Before the next punch is thrown, make sure to like the video and share your thoughts. Your comment could be pinned. Anthony Joshua exposed the real gap in levels. This wasn't just a lesson. It was a clear warning to anyone who believes trash talk can replace skill in boxing.
Fabio Wardley now has won the fight fair and square because that's the decision. That's the referee's final decision. Wardley wins the fight. He is now mandatory for Alexander Usyk. What is he going to do against Alexander Usyk? Where do we go from here? Alexander Usyk.
Logan Paul's panic revealed just how badly Jake Paul was hurt. Anthony Joshua's punches dropped Jake to the canvas repeatedly and ultimately left him on his knees. Every defensive effort Jake made collapsed under pressure. This wasn't just a knockout, it was a complete dismantling in the ring, where superior skill, timing, and raw power left Jake Paul utterly helpless.
But I just pissed him off, then he broke my brother's jaw. Yeah, he's supposed to jaw. Yeah? He don't care though, Jake's having a fucking...
Eddie Hearn explains how Anthony Joshua's dominance completely overwhelmed Jake Paul. Every combination drove him backward and forced him to his knees time and again. It became clear that Jake had no response to the pace and precision. Joshua dictated the ring from start to finish, while Jake scrambled to survive, highlighting the brutal difference between a true heavyweight and a hype-driven fighter.
It is, what was it, about an hour ago, so I guess everything's calmed down a little bit. I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because anytime you...
Jake Paul admitting that his jaw was broken underscored the brutal reality of the moment. Anthony Joshua's combinations repeatedly sent him to his knees, each punch landing with ruthless accuracy and leaving Jake struggling to stay upright. It was a total exposure of how unprepared he was, as fans watch a true heavyweight methodically dismantle a hype fighter inside the ring.
Broken, by the way, so... Yeah. Let's go! It's definitely broke. But, man, that was good. Nice little ass whooping from one of the best to ever do it, so...
Adam Smith highlights the harsh reality of the fight. Jake Paul was repeatedly driven backward and dropped to his knees under Anthony Joshua's relentless punches. The sheer power and skill turned every exchange into a challenge he couldn't survive. Any doubt disappeared the moment a true heavyweight showed the clear difference between hype and genuine boxing ability.
It just shouldn't happen, but we don't know. As with all these things, there's always a grey area, isn't there? But
Johnny Nelson explains how Anthony Joshua's relentless pressure caused Jake Paul to break down repeatedly. The mental stress, combined with heavy, accurate punches, kept dropping him to his knees. Joshua punished every mistake while controlling the ring, leaving Jake scrambling with no real defense. This fight perfectly showed what happens when hype collides with elite skill. You've seen it before, just like when AJ boxed Dillian White and drew him into an emotional battle.
I probably saw that when AJ boxed Dillian White, getting him emotionally involved. It's a big risk, because we've seen a nice AJ knock people out, so what happens when he's a nasty AJ?
Tony Bellew highlights that while the scene looked chaotic, the truth was far more brutal. Anthony Joshua's sharp, precise punches kept driving Jake Paul to his knees, leaving him exposed and helpless. The spectacle of hype collapsed inside the ring as skill and power took control. It proved that real boxing isn't about theatrics, it's about domination through technique, timing, and discipline.
For the sport, it's not that it's bad, it's frightening. But listen, this isn't boxing as a sport, this is the circus.
Jake Paul was thoroughly outclassed and driven to his knees again and again. Anthony Joshua's combinations and total control of the ring left him with no answers. Every feint and exchange from Joshua exposed Jake Paul's lack of experience. It was a brutal reality check, proving that hype can never replace skill. Fans witness a true heavyweight masterclass as Jake Paul struggled to stay upright, highlighting the huge gap in ability and ring IQ.
AJ said, and everybody knows, he's not a real boxer. There's levels to this game, and he was way out of his level.
Johnny Nelson perfectly captures the moment Jake Paul unraveled. Anthony Joshua drove him to his knees again and again with relentless combinations, giving him no chance to recover. Jake Paul's broken confidence was obvious as he admitted he couldn't handle Joshua's power and skill. The fight exposed the danger of skipping levels in boxing. Every punch and every movement showed Joshua's mastery, while Jake Paul fought simply to survive, once again proving that experience and technique outweigh hype in the world of boxing.
This kid have a reality check. And that's what he actually did, because Jake Paul himself said, I was shattered. You know, this guy, everything I thought.
Simon Jordan highlights how Jake Paul's theatrics collapsed the moment a real fight begins. Anthony Joshua dominated throughout, repeatedly forcing Jake Paul to his knees and exposing a gap that no amount of hype or online content can close. Every punch and movement left Jake Paul vulnerable. The so-called circus ended with a blunt lesson. Joshua's skill, experience, and composure overwhelmed the YouTube fighter. Fans were given a stark reminder that real boxing is defined by ability, precision, and endurance, as Jake Paul's showmanship crumbled under true heavyweight pressure and spectacle gave way to harsh ring reality.
Netflix have got some wonderful content, and Jake Paul runs around doing what Jake Paul does. So everybody wins, and only the people that don't win are the people that go, well, look at it. And even the people that think Anthony Joshua is a busted flush now go, well,
This clip captures Jake Paul fighting purely to survive. Anthony Joshua's sharp, accurate punches repeatedly drove him to his knees. Every attempt to clinch, escape, or evade was shut down by Joshua's relentless combinations. The tactic of running and cutting corners offered no protection. Joshua capitalized on every opening, systematically breaking Jake down round after round. It became a clear lesson in ring control and controlled power, leaving the YouTube fighter humbled. Each collapse to his knees exposed the enormous gap between a seasoned heavyweight champion and a hype-driven fighter chasing fame without true preparation.
Just run. But generally, the game plan was to run a lot, hold whenever he had to. He dropped his knees for a fucking takedown.
Nikisa Badarian breaks down how Jake Paul was tactically dismantled. Anthony Joshua controlled the distance with precision, steering Jake into failed clinches and punishing every attempt to close the gap. Each movement drained Jake's energy, repeatedly forcing him to his knees as his gas tank emptied far quicker than expected. Joshua's patience and ring IQ exposed the flaws in Jake Paul's technique, while his power kept the YouTube fighter permanently on the back foot. Fans witnessed a clear masterclass in control, pressure, and capitalizing on mistakes, proving once again that hype cannot replace real skill at the highest level.
Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it.
Eddie Hearn highlights a rare moment where Anthony Joshua was tested, yet still completely in control. Even when provoked, Joshua stayed composed, showing exactly why he stands among the top heavyweights. Jake Paul's constant attempt to pressure and agitate him only worked against him. Every push and feint was met with sharp, precise counters that repeatedly sent Jake Paul to his knees. The fight turned into a clear lesson in composure versus chaos. Joshua's calm dominance under pressure exposed a vast gap in experience, skill, and ring IQ, as Jake Paul was broken down time and again while Joshua dictated the tempo, power, and pace, proving once more that hype can never replace true boxing ability.
The push was, listen, we've seen worse, you know what I mean? But lively, and what followed actually was one of the few times that I've seen Anthony Joshua unravel, if you like, because normally he's very composed, but you can't be composed when a man's talking to you like that.
Simon Jordan highlights that bravado and disrespect never work against true champions. Jake Paul's attempt to provoke Anthony Joshua backfired every time, ending with him driven to his knees or absorbing clean, punishing shots. Joshua's discipline and focus turned each taunt into another moment of control and dominance. The repeated knockdowns prove that hype and bravado cannot survive against the power and skill of a seasoned heavyweight. Fans witness a brutal lesson in humility as Joshua stripped away Jake Paul's confidence, showing that ring intelligence, composure, and experience matter far more than showmanship or theatrics in a real fight.
An egg on his face. I mean, how many times have we seen boxers do things that they shouldn't do? You know, we saw Derek Chisora spit on Vitaly Klitschko.
We didn't need that.
I'm not offended by it.
This moment made the reality impossible to ignore. Anthony Joshua's punches were delivered with such precision and force that Jake Paul's jaw was broken in 2 places. Each clean shot drove him back to the canvas, repeatedly dropping him to his knees. The evidence confirmed what fans already knew. Hype offers no protection against elite skill and raw power. This fight was a brutal reminder that experience and proper technique outweigh showmanship every time. Joshua's dominance was unmistakable, and Jake Paul's repeated struggles highlighted the danger of underestimating a true heavyweight. Fans witnessed both the physical and mental toll of elite boxing, a stark reminder that champions like Anthony Joshua operate on a level far beyond any social media.
Has a broken jaw, it appears, after fighting Anthony Joshua, right? I made this graphic for you guys. You see it. Got his jaw broken in 2 places.
Care of me forever and ever, little fucked up. But when you take care of me forever and ever, little fucked up. But when you take care of me forever and ever.
Every time he threw a punch, I like wince, because he's a big man and he's an incredible boxer and he's still in his prime and he's got a very long reach and he's got a lot of power in that right hand, and that left hook is terrifying as well. And so